Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage. Today is Marvelous Monday and I'm Leslie Watkins. So I want to let you know about a special deal that's going on just for 2 more days. So until the end of September, there is a chance that you can get a lot of extra stamping products for a really terrific discount. So you're almost doubling your money. Let me show you what I mean. This is the promotion, and it's a chance to get 2 stamp sets worth about $20 a piece, some embellishments, these are rhinestones, these are $5, plus 2 card kits, and these are enough materials, the card bases, the cardstock, the envelopes for 16 cards. And part of the reason why this is such a great deal is because on October 3rd, we're going to be celebrating World Card Making Day. And this is a great way to dive in and get all of the basic materials that you need to get started and get ready for the Christmas season that's just around the corner. So let me show you what's in the kit here. In addition to the promotional items that I just talked about, I made up a sample starter kit. And these are just the essential things that you would need to begin stamping. So the first thing that I recommend is the paper trimmer. And it's too big to fit on the screen, so there we go. So this is a method of cutting your paper so that you know that it's always perfectly square. So you get these very precise cuts. And this is the cutting blade. And not only do you have a cutting blade, but you have a scoring blade as well. And I'm going to be demonstrating this in a couple of minutes. You can get a piercing mat, which is a great foamy cushion to use when using your stamps and pressing down to get a really good impression. A bone folder, which I use constantly. It's by my side all the time. And you could get the complete set of clear blocks. So you get 9 altogether. This great big one, all of these little ones, and various sizes. And you may wonder, well, why would I need so many different ones? It's important because when you have various size stamps, it makes a big difference when you use the appropriately sized block to stamp with. It just gives you a better impression. You're less likely to get a halo around the edges. And if you don't have a block that's big enough for the larger stamps, then you're not going to be able to get a good impression. So I really recommend that you get the entire set of clear blocks, because when you get the entire set, you get an additional 10% off. Now, the case does not come with the clear blocks, but it is available if you're someone that thinks that you're going to be traveling with your tools or doing workshops or whatever. But if you're just staying home and they're in your studio, then the case is optional. So that's a really great deal. And then the other thing that I have on the list here is some glue, because you're going to need some adhesive. And I also added on my recommendations the linen thread, which I'll be using today. And this is a very handy thing because not only can you use it for embellishments, but you can use it to stitch together your watercolor notebooks and all sorts of other projects that I'll be showing you throughout the year. So let me just see. Oh, and then you'll need an ink pad. So I added an ink pad. So if you add all of these things up, the clear blocks, the glue, the linen thread, the bone folder, your piercing mat, which is what we're going to be using to stamp on, and the trimmer. It adds up exactly to $125. But when you get the starter kit, you get it for only $99 plus free shipping. So that's a tremendous savings. And when you add on all of these things, you're pretty much doubling your money. So I really urge you to consider signing up, getting the starter kit, and taking advantage of this great deal before September 30th, because after that it's over. Okay, so that's enough talking about all of that. I'm going to show you what you can do with all of these items once you get them. So I'm going to be using the Coastal Cabana ink today. I'm going to be using my liquid glue, the linen thread, I'm just checking my list here to make sure that I didn't forget anything. I have some cardstock here. So I've got the Whisper White thick cardstock that I'm using for my card base, and the Coastal Cabana colored cardstock, and this is the thin Whisper White that I'm going to use to stamp on. And I've got enough here for 2 cards. I'm going to show you 2 different very easy ways to get started. So what I do is this is my piercing mat. You can see it there. Okay, and what I do is I just wrap it up in a piece of scrap paper, and that way I keep the ink from getting all over it and making a mess, and then I can just switch this out whenever I'm ready. So I'm going to begin with this stamp set. This is Queen Anne's lace, and when I was a little girl this was my favorite flower. Now that I'm a gardener, I'm not so sure it's my favorite flower anymore, but I like it when it's not in my garden because it can be invasive. And I'm going to use this larger image of the flowers. Just going to pull that off the plastic. And I'm putting that on my clear block, just like that. Okay? And then the ink pad flips open and slides in on itself like so. Here's my paper, and I'm just going to tap that gently. I'm going to do this a couple of times. So I'm going to put one towards the top of the card. And I'm going to add another one right down here to fill that area out. I'm going to turn it slightly. There we go. Now I'm just going to select one of the sentiments. So I think I'm going to go with Hello Friend. Actually, you know what? I need a thank you card, so I'm just going to switch to thank you. It actually says thanks. Just going to put that right there. And that's as easy as it is to stamp your image on your card. Now let me show you how to put it together. I'm taking my liquid glue and I'm just tapping that to get the glue down into the nozzle. And then I'm putting a very thin bead, not quite to the edge, And I'm mounting this onto my matching cardstock, and this cardstock is also the same color as the Coastal Cabana. It matches perfectly. So the ink and the cardstock go together really beautifully. Now before I mount this, I'm going to grab my linen thread, and I'm just going to wrap this around the card twice. Just like that. And then I'm going to tie that, get that straight on there. There we go. I'm going to tie this in a knot. And then I'm just going to put a little bow. There we go. Now flip that over, add a little more glue. Then I'm going to glue this down onto my card base. And this is what we call simple stamping. So there's a beautiful card that you can send to anybody to thank them or to say hello if you choose one of the other sentiments in the kit here. And once you have all these supplies, you can make as many cards as you'd like. Now I'm going to do a similar card, but I'm just going to change it up slightly. I want to show you a different way of doing it. So this time, instead of having the white card base, I've got the Coastal Cabana card base. Then I've got a white mat, and I have a piece of the Coastal Cabana that measures, let's see what this is, 3 3/4 by 5. And this time I'm going to do something called tone on tone stamping. I'll get my mat out again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the edges. So I'm going to go partly off the paper, and I'm going to, oops, I didn't get a good impression. I didn't press hard enough, so I'm going to do that again. There we go. So I'm just going to go around and put a little border . Like that. Okay. And then I'm going to put a sentiment on the inside of there, and I think I'll go with this support for someone who's going through a rough time. It says, I know you have the strength to get through this. So let's use that one. And if I flip this over and line this up on the grid, I can see through here. Don't mind my head. And get that on there nice and straight. Okay, and then I'm just going to place this in the center. And there you have a beautiful, subtle tone on tone. I'm going to add a little glue to the back of this. Look at that color. There we go. Now I'm going to dress that up a little bit with these rhinestones. So I'm just going to take a couple of these tiny ones. Just for a little extra something. And there's your second card. So it's just that easy to begin. So here's two really pretty cards ready to go in just a matter of minutes. Now as the weeks come up towards Christmas, I'm going to be showing you a lot of different ways that you can make Christmas cards. And I'm also going to be preparing for Saturday's World Card Making Day, where I'm going to make several very easy cards that that you can use to send out to friends and family around the world to celebrate. If you have any questions at all about the starter kit, just please contact me at dandelioncottagedesign.com. The information is on my website about this special deal, and I can list below, after I finish the video, all of the items that I recommend in your starter kit, so make it easy for you to just one click and go to the page and see what those are. And the other thing that's coming up is I'm going to be starting a card club, which I'll be putting on my newsletter called Notes from Dandelion Cottage. And if you subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage, you will get all of the information about my upcoming monthly classes, the card club, World Card Day, and the Christmas specials coming right up. So please check that out. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you on Wednesday for Watercolor Wednesday, and that you have a great week, and stay well and stay creative.